welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a big thanks to John Delphin for his take on Mozart's Sonata No. 16 in the intro today. Some of you may be very familiar with John's name. He is a very famous person in the history of American crosswords. John has won the American crossword puzzle competition no less than 7 times. Absolutely brilliant. Anyway, today's puzzle is by fritzdis, another by fritzdis. He's becoming an absolute regular on the channel. Such are the quality of his offerings. And this one, I think, has a 98% approval rating on Logic Masters Germany. And it's been specially recommended to us by our Discord server. So it ought to be an absolute treat. It's called Left Out. And as I was setting up the webcam, I was wondering why it's called Left Out. I can't see anything. If I highlight the cages, you can see that this one looks a bit like a Q. I'm not seeing why these are. Does that look like anything redolent of the phrase left out? I'm not sure. Anyway, we shall discover in the solve whether anything's going on. Now, a quick spoiler before I get on to the next item. If you have not solved the puzzle I covered in yesterday's bonus video, which was a solve of Dave Gorman's most recent cryptic crossword, then I'm about to put the final solution to that puzzle on the screen. So look away now, cover your ears. I want to show you this because I think this is absolutely startling, and it will appeal to many of you who watch the game show Only Connect, because Dave had put a hidden theme in the puzzle which was Only Connect. So if you look carefully at this grid, you can see Only Connect, they're 2 answers, and you can see all the categories you can select in the game Only Connect. There's lion, 2 reeds, twisted flax, water, Eye of Horus, Horned Viper. So they're all there, all 6 of the categories. But the thing I absolutely love is this row here. It might not let me do this. Oh, it does. Look, there you go. And this row here. And if you stare carefully at the sort of white cells here, you can see it might look like gibberish. But if you're a fan of the program, you will be very familiar with the missing vowels round. And Dave has hidden that with its missing vowels in the grid here, in these unchecked letters. Absolutely wonderful stuff. So that got me very excited, and I thought some of you might enjoy that, so I'm sharing. Now, anything else I want to mention before we kick off with the puzzle? Just have a look at what's going on Patreon. I really do think it is startlingly good value. It's $2 a month to join us on Patreon. There are, I think, 4,000 of you who have joined us now. And we've got, yesterday we released Mark's attempt to solve 6 times crosswords in an average time of 6 minutes. We've got the Wonders of the World Sudoku Hunt, which is still getting answers in by the hour. And we've got Scott Strossard's video on how to solve his own Sudoku challenge. And that's all stuff that we've released very recently. And there's more stuff coming as well. So watch this space. Now, let's get to the rules of fritzdis's puzzle. Why is that cell highlighted? I don't know. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. Good. Digits cannot repeat within a cage. Now I've got a note here. There are 5 9-cell cages in the grid, which were coloured in fritzdis's original version. Oh, they're not coloured here. A 9-cell cage must, as no digits can repeat, contain all the digits from 1 through 9 once each. Yes. Okay, so I highlighted these before. I think I was meant to keep them highlighted probably. Let's highlight them in some different colours. We can do those. This one can be purple. That one can be green. There we go. So you can see that these cages, 2, 3, 4, yeah, they are. They're all 9 cells large, which means these effectively form extra regions in the Sudoku. They work a bit like this box. This box has to contain the 9 digits from 1 to 9, once each. Well, because you can't repeat a digit in a 9-cell cage, each of these cages also has to contain the digits 1 to 9, once each. Now, I imagine I've been given a white grid because they think I'm going to need to highlight. So I'm going to trust them and put them like that. Now, what else? We've got digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in the connected circle. Digits may repeat along an arrow if allowed by the other rules. So standard arrow rules, in other words, which means those two squares, for example, whatever we make this domino add up to, you put it in the circle. And you can repeat digits along arrows. That doesn't look very easy to do. This one might be, yeah, okay. This is, I think, the only place where a digit could repeat along an arrow. And in fact, looking at that, it looks like only those two squares could repeat. But that's almost doing some logic from the puzzle. But so for it to be absolutely fine, for example, those two squares could be 2. And then whatever those two squares, let's make this 1 and 3. You can see these arrows together now add up to 8. So you'd put 8 in the circle, and that would be a perfectly valid arrow in this puzzle. So do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, actually it's a bit like yesterday, isn't it? We've got these huge cages. And what I think we're going to have to find, because I mean, if we look around the grid as usual, there are no given digits. There's no help here. There's going to be weak cells, I think, in some of these cages where digits are going to repeat in interesting places. So my job's going to be to find. Yeah, I mean, there's there things that are immediately interesting. 2 things to me are interesting about this cage. The first thing is that those 3 digits, whatever is in those 3 cells there, where can they go in box 9? Box 9? Box 7. Can't count. Where do these 3 squares go in box 7? Well, they can't go in those squares or they'd repeat in the cage. So they have to go in those 3 squares there. So these squares and these squares are the same. But you can go further than that, because this square, actually, that must repeat exactly in this position, because it can't repeat in the cage and it can't repeat in the column. So that square and that square are mirrored. So there's already some colouring opportunities, and we don't pass those up. So these 2 squares are the same. These red squares must map on to the start of this arrow. Now, can we do anything with that? The answer is no. I'm not sure I can. I mean, I know one of these is blue, but I don't think I know I can use that to detect its quantum. This one, let's have a look at this one then. This one doesn't look as good to me at first blush. Maybe I'm missing something. No, I don't think that one's very helpful at all, to be honest. This one, this is the backwards Q. Yeah, well, there's a similar stripy thing going on in this one. So whatever goes in those squares can't now repeat in the Q shape, so it would have to go in those 3 squares. So these 3 squares map to these 3 squares, map to those 3 squares, and that's certainly worth. Yeah, okay, and that's just going to repeat everywhere in these 3 columns, isn't it? So where do those 3 squares go in this box? Well, these 3 squares cannot be green, so they don't go there. By Sudoku, they don't go there, so they must go there. So there's those 3 stripes we can draw. Let's make those orange, and therefore the corollary of that is that those 3 must form their own region. Now I'm going to run out of colours soon at this rate. Right, so we've now got a sort of funny arrangement that looks like a very unpleasant ice cream flavour down the right-hand columns of the grid. Now, let's just study this for a second, because there should be something we can do with this. We can maybe I've got to look at this arrow, actually. Well, I can say something about the circle from the arrow, because if we look carefully, this square, and this square are all in the same cage. So the minimum I could put into those 3 squares would be 1, 2, and 3. They all have to be different because they're in the same cage. So these 3 have to add up to at least 6. This has to be positive, so it's got to be at least 1. So that means 7 is the minimum we can put into the circle. Yeah, and going back to what we did in the example, those 2 squares have to be the same. How do we know they're the same? Well, what would happen if these... We know these three squares are different. What would happen if this one was a fourth digit, a different digit to these three? Well, then the minimum we could make the 4 cells add up to would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is 10, which is too many. We can't put 10 in this square. So this square is the only opportunity for a repeated digit, and it can't be the same as it can't be different. I'm getting tongue-tied today. This square and this square are the only opportunities for different digits, because obviously whatever we put in there cannot be here and cannot be here. So those two squares are the same, and that's going to ruin my lovely colouring if I colour those another different colour. I know what I'll do. I'll label them, because we can't make these as high as double 4 even. If you try double 4 in those two squares, how are we going to fill those squares to keep this down to a single digit number? We can't. So these squares have to be, I think they can be 3. Double 3 with a 1, 2 pair would make this 9. That would work. So these are the same. And whatever goes in here obviously goes in here. And whatever goes in here has to go in one of those and one of those. If that was double 1, now you could still have some relatively high digits in the other places on that arrow. So, should we look at this cage? Oh, there must be something going on with this cage. It takes up so much real estate in row 4. Yeah, this is lovely. Right, okay. Now we can use our funny pattern on the right, because this is a 9-cell cage. So every cell is different. Now, these are already in row 4. That's a knowledge bomb for you. Those cells in row 4 are in row 4. But row 4 needs to have all of the digits, not just these. So these 3 digits here have to appear in row 4, but they're not in those squares. Well, we actually know the colours of these 2 squares. So we know this one. Well, in fact, it's probably best to focus on the green one. The green one, where does the green one go in row 4? Green cannot be orange and it cannot be grey. We've proved that with the work we've done in columns 7, 8 and 9. So the only place this square can go is there. And I might have to find a way of highlighting that, I think, because they are so far apart I won't remember it. Let's make those black. No, I could use purple. Oh, that's much more exciting. Yeah, I haven't used purple yet. Right, these 2 can be purple. Now, this square here, therefore, must be the same as this square here, because whatever is in this cell cannot have appeared in row 4, because it can't repeat in this cage. It's grey, so it must be there. So these 2 are the same. And those 2 are the same. I don't really have enough colours to keep track of all this, but I'll try and remember that. So those 2 and those 2 are the same. Purple. Right, I see. This is lovely. It's absolutely gorgeous. Look what this does in box 1 with purple. Purple by SUDOKU can't go there. But also, purple can't go here by SUDOKU either. And purple can't repeat in its own cage, so it can't be there. So that square is purple. So now, purple is in one of those. Purple is in the circle of its arrow, so it could be quite a large digit. And if it goes onto those squares, it would have to be quite a small digit at the same time. Purple, one of those 3 squares. Another opportunity for it to be on an arrow. Can we do any more with purple? I'm not sure. Purple. Sorry, I'm getting muddled up now. This is not good. This shape, is that useful? Yeah, that's incredible. Right, okay. Yes, this shape is where we should look now, because this is absolutely beautiful. Look at this domino. Where does this domino go in this shape? This domino here, I'm going to have to use another colour. It's essential, basically. This black domino, it obviously can't go in those squares. This is a 9-cell region, so we know this domino has to appear in this region somewhere. Well, by Sudoku, it can't be in those 2 squares. It can't be in those. They're already in the box. So this is a black domino here. Now look, this black domino sums to a purple square. So this square, which sums a black domino, must also be, yep, purple. Now, purple is on the arrow there. That's interesting. Purple. Purple is... Could this be purple if it was 3? Oh no, hang on. No, of course, purple is green. Purple is green. This is the key. Purple is green. So if purple is green, and it is basically, because although I've labelled it purple, it's in a green stripe. If purple is green, which one of these 3 squares by Sudoku is purple? It's the green one. I tell you, I think I would be committed if people actually recorded some of the sentences I say on this channel and played them back to a policeman. Now this shape comes into its own, because now none of those can be purple because they're in the box with the purple. This purple means none of those can be purple, so this is purple. That means that's not purple, so purple is now known in box 2. Can this square be purple? No, because we can't make purple plus whatever's in this square add up to purple. We can't put 0 in this square. This is not purple, so by Sudoku that is purple from these purples. So purple, we've got 8 purples in the grid. So now that square, which is green, is also purple. And we've done all of the purples. And now we have to stare and think about what this means. Oh, in fact, that's purple. That's on a 4-cell arrow. This is very interesting because there's sort of pressure from both directions on purple now. This is summing digits, so this would suggest purple wants to be high. This is on a 4-cell arrow, which is pushing purple down. So if you make that double 1, 2, we could make this as big as 5. So 5 is the maximum that purple can be. And 5, right, purple is 5, because this is the key, it's this square. Let's look at this square. Now, can we know from this arrow, or this arrow in fact, that purple must be at least 3, because if we try and make this 2, we can't put double 1 on the arrow. So purple is 3, 4, or 5 by the time we get to this square. Now, if purple is not 5, it's 3 or 4, let's try 4 just to show you. These 2 squares would have to be a 1-3 pair. But what would we put into that square? There's no option. It would have to be a 1 or a 3. You cannot put a digit into the purple square that can only be sort of dissected in one way. So because it needs to have 2 ways of being made up from these 2 arrows. And this square is always going to be a problem if there is only one way of making it. So this has to allow 2 ways. So this is 5, and purple is 5, and for the whole grid, whole purples get filled in. And that's going to be powerful for this arrow, which now now forces double 1 here because double 2 already takes us to 9. This square must be a 2, this square must be a 9, and we are cooking with gas. We've got 2 and 9 in orange, so there's got to be a 2-9 pair up there. We've got 1 in grey. We've got 3 or 4 here because this... Oh, no, hang on. No, we can do better than that. This domino here adds to 5, but it can't include a 1. So this must be a 2-3 pair, and there's a 2 here. So that's 2, that's 3. 3 is now in one of those 2 squares. I bet it's this one. Yes, it is, because if it's 3 here, this would have to be a 1-2 pair, and the 2 would clash. So the 3 goes there. That's not 3. This must be a 1-4 pair. So black is a 1-4 pair, so that's a 1-4 pair. What a puzzle. Absolutely incredible. 1 has to be in one of these 3 squares. Okay, what now? It must be... I must be able to do something fairly simple here, I think. We can... maybe this arrow. This arrow's got 5 on it, so once this has got to be at least 1. So this square's got to be at least 6. Okay. This square, maybe? Not quite. I wonder whether this... The fact this square obviously needs to... Oh no, hang on. No, that is useful. This square has to appear in this cage. So it can't appear in those squares. The 5, 1 and the 4 are already appearing in box 4. So this square and this square are mirrored. And they can't be blue. So this square then goes into one of those cells. Right, I am running out of colours big time here. 4, 2, 3, 4. Right, okay. Now let's look at blue. Blue cannot be 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. So blue is at least 6, but it's going on to an arrow with a 3. So blue is 6. Blue is 6. No, not 9. Blue is 6. And that's a 9. So, and blue is not the same as yellow, so there's a 6 in one of these squares. 9 is in one of those squares by Sudoku. Oh, I was about to rule this out, but that 9 is not actually in this cage. It just looks very close to it. This is a 9-3 domino. We know that these 3 squares mirror to here, so this must be a 9. 9 is not yellow, so this becomes a 6-9 pair at the top of the column. It's just incredible. It really is incredible. Now, 1 and 4, look, have not appeared yet in box 7. So, oh, 1. Oh no, 1 is not quite fixed. Oh, no, although, hang on. No, I don't think 1 is fixed. I think 1 is in one of these 2 squares by Sudoku, but this could be 1 without being yellow, so we can't rule 1 out of this square, I don't think. If this was 1, it would put 1 into one of those cells, and that would be nice. 2. Oh, 2. Where does 2 go? Yeah, where does 2 go in box 4? 2 cannot be yellow because we know that that will force 2 to be in one of those 2 squares and that will clash in the box. So I think 2 can only go there, which means this is 2, which means that's not 2. And these 3 squares are 3, 7 and 8. And these squares are 7 and 8, and I'm worried about my colours now. This is going completely nuts. Oh, this can't be 3 because it's got to be the same as that square. So this is 7 or 8. This is 7 or 8. I don't really like using the yellow, I have to say. I might get rid of that. I find it really awkward because the cursor is yellow. Those two squares are the same. Oh, I could get rid of purple. I can get rid of purple now. I've done purple. So these can now be the new purple. Right. These are the new purple. Purple. Hang on. Purple. Yeah, isn't there just a simple bit of Sudoku with purple here? Purple has to be in one of those squares. But we also know at the same time, purple has to appear in this cage. Now purple cannot go in those 3 squares because this is purple. So purple needs to be in these squares. Well, it's not here. And given one of these 3 is purple, none of those is purple. So the only square that meets the criteria of getting something into this cage and at the same time being purple and being in one of those 3 squares is that one. That is purple. And that's broken my greens up again. So one of these 2 squares is purple. One of these 2 squares is purple. One of these 3 squares is purple. Oh no, hang on. Is that right? This purple's on an arrow. That's very surprising, given it's a 7 or an 8. So that fixes this arrow is fixed. Because look, there's a 7-8 pair in row 4. So this square has to be higher than 7 or 8 because it's the sum of those 2 digits. Well, the only digit that will work is 9. Now this square cannot be a 2 because there's a 2 here, so it must be a 1. We can't put 3 here because 3 plus 7 is 10. So this is all fixed. Purple has now become 8 out of nowhere. This is 7, this is 8, this is 8, this is 7. 8 is in one of those squares now. Don't know if we know which one. 8 is not in those squares. 7. Oh no, 7 is not. 7 is already done. Oh, I see. These are 1, 4 and 8. Okay. This is not 8. Right, let me just take stock a bit here and try and get my head around what's gone on. We now know purple is green is 8. Purple is green is 8. Remember that. So purple is green is 8. So there's an 8 down here. There's an 8 up here. Right, lovely. Okay, so we can't put 8 in the circle. Wait, sorry, we can't put 8 on the arrow because that's going to force 9 onto the circle, which will clash. So 8 goes in the top. This is not 8. That's not 8 anymore. If that's not 8, this is not 3. Where does 8 go in row 2? It can only go here. One of these 2 squares has got to be 8. And okay, one of these is 8. We knew that already. This arrow needs to not be 3, 5. So this is 1, 7 or 2, 6. So that's 1, 2. That's 6, 7. So 1, 2, 4 triple in row 2 now. So this square's not 2, so the only place for 2 now in orange is right at the top. Get rid of the 2 from this square. And that's actually really nice because, yeah, this 1, 2, 4 triple ruling 2 out from here and forcing it here now bounces back there and forces that to be a 1. And that forces this square to be a 7. And that forces the 7 and the 3. Okay, so now I can use the 1 on the 1 and the 4. I can get the 2 here. That fixes this arrow. And suddenly everything is coming up roses, isn't it? We've now got 6, 9 here. Now, no, hang on, better than that. I now know that the green slither is 5, 7, 8, so that's got to be 7. This has got to be a 7, 8 pair. 7, 8. 2s and 9s. There's got to be a 2 down here. No, that is not resolved yet. And okay, let's just take stock. What have we now got? What have we now learned? This box is incredibly restricted. 3s, 4s and 6s. Yes, that's a 4. This is a 3, 6 pair. There's now 4 in the grey. So there's got to be a 4 down here. There's got to be a 4 up here. Don't know if we know the order. If I can fix which way round these go, we will be away. Can we do that somehow? I'm not sure, but we do know these two squares have got to be 2 and 9 just by Sudoku, and there's a 2 here. So that's 2, that's 9. There's a 2 in one of those squares. Nine has got to make an appearance in this cage. It's not there, it's not there, and it's not there. And it's not there because of this 9 here, so it's there, exactly there. 9 is now in one of those squares. And these two squares, this is going to be interesting because these two squares are going to give us those two squares. Oh, in fact, look, I know this already. I've done this logic already. I am so stupid sometimes. But look, it's because I haven't got my colouring sorted out. We worked out right at the start of the video that these 3 squares here mapped on, well, the 5 is repeated here, but this square and this square are the same, this square and this square are the same. So this is 9, this is 4. That might not actually be as... Oh, it gives us a 6 here, and that 6 disambiguates the orange. 6 and 3. This must be a 2, 6 pair. There's a 6 here, 6 and 2. This has got to be 3, 4. There's a 3 here. I don't believe it. This is a 1. 4, 8. So this is a 4, this is a 1. This is a 7 or an 8, so this should be a 2 then. The 8 up here means this is a 7, this is an 8, this is a 7. Good. Now those two squares have got to be 3 and 6, which we don't know the order of, I think. I think we've basically used everything now apart from maybe this cage. So this cage hopefully will help us to finish the puzzle. We still haven't put... we haven't put 1 in this row. 1 can only go there. So this square's a 4 or an 8. We've now got 5 digits in this cage. We haven't got 3, 4, 7 or 8. Let's just put those in and see what we can eliminate. We can eliminate 7 from those two. 3 from that one. Okay, well I suppose that gives us a 3, 4, 8 triple in this, in this box. Hobson's choice. This has got to be a 6. That's a 6. That's a 3. So this is 4, 7, and 8 in some order. That's got to be a 4 actually. This 7 is quite nice now. That gets the 8 and the 7 placed. This can't be 8 anymore. Whoa. And this square, looking up this column, this has got to be a 3 because it can't be a 4. So that gets us all of this done. That square's got to be a 3. What do we need? We need 1, 4, 6 and 9. So this is 9, 4 pair. Therefore we've got to go 9, 4, 9, 6, 1, 6. And that looks like we've finished it. Yes. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant puzzle. Good grief, that was clever. And I think I've missed a bit of the cleverness of it, to be honest, during the solve. I think I cottoned on relatively quickly to what was going on with the stripes down here. And then it gets incredible, doesn't it? It got incredible because we were able to show that these 3 squares mapped to particular digits along this row, and I forgot to use that later in the solve. I got the 5s, well, I didn't know they were 5s, but these 2 squares being the same was really nice because it allowed me to work out that this square had to map to this square in box 1. That is quite, I mean, it's quite gorgeous. And then with what fritzdis had done with this domino, mapping to this domino, allowing these 2 squares to map to each other, and that then going through the grid like a dose of salts, it was just amazing. So you get these 5s early on, and then it's really just a case of picking off all the sort of not obvious digits, but the way that the geometry helps you, and it did keep helping us. But I was a bit slow up here to really, I think, fully appreciate the effect of these sort of ice cream stripes in columns 7, 8 and 9. But what a brilliant puzzle. Let me know in the comments how you got on, whether you raced ahead of my time or whether you were a bit slower. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.